Sasha Banks and Naomi have been removed from the WWE internal roster. Plus, a Raw star has officially moved to SmackDown, and a top WWE star has been spotted training for a return. It's all in the wrestling news right now. Lots of question marks remain over the Boss and Glow connection, Sasha Banks and Naomi, since they walked out on WWE a few months back. PW Insider I've given a few more details on it, saying while there's been no official indication that they have been released, PWInsider.com can confirm that both Sasha Banks and Naomi were removed from WWE's internal roster over the last 24 hours. We have heard rumblings that Banks may be doing some signings outside of WWE this fall, but again, no official confirmation. Sasha Banks and Naomi have now updated their Instagram bios, and it just says professional wrestler.
Wow.
If you ever want to stick it to WWE,
absolutely.
You call yourself a professional wrestler. No mention of WWE in their bios either, outside of Sasha Banks' handle still being Sasha Banks WWE.
Yeah.
I believe if she changes that to Mercedes Venado, does she lose the blue tick?
I don't know.
Is it a bit like Twitter sometimes where if you change your handle, you lose your blue tick?
Oh, mate, I didn't know that happened. I thought I assumed you'd be fine.
You can change your name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But if you change the official handle, you potentially lose that blue tick, and that's quite a powerful tool, is the blue tick.
Damn.
In social media world. Where do you reckon we see these two land next?
Do you know what?
I've asked everybody who have done news with this, except you.
I think so. I mean, I think Sasha Banks absolutely rocking up on AEW would just be a huge thing, right? Like, I know there's obviously there's plenty of other sort of promotions and stuff she could go to, but I mean, I feel like going to AEW would very much be the big headline thing, right? I think more women in that roster as well would actually be quite a good thing too, because I think AEW do quite a good job of like rotating the women's roster and whatnot, but sometimes we see like more of the same people in the top spot. And I think sometimes to have, obviously now we've got the TBS championship as well, which is always good to sort of kind of like, you know, divide between the two and whatnot as well. But I think she would fit in that roster quite well, and she's wrestled a lot of people in that roster too, and we know she can have really good matches with some of those people as well. So I like to see her there. As for Naomi, I mean, AEW as well, Impact too. Like, what do you reckon?
I think Impact's a nice place for I think initially for Naomi, but I wonder whether you bring them both in at the same time.
That's what I was thinking as well.
That caused some ructions, wouldn't it? I think it certainly would. It's interesting what you say, just to sort of pivot about the AEW women's division and how there is that, you know, there's that high rotation in those top spots. But I think it's more, I think the big difference is, and this is just me sort of spitballing, I think WWE's women's division is more sort of like that.
Yeah.
So like there's people all the way up, whereas the AEW women's division is like that, whereby there's less room at the top. There's lots down. Like AEW Dark tend to be quite stocked of women's matches, but there's not many sort of feature positions. And whether Sasha Banks and Naomi, with that situation in place, whether that will clog it up, I don't know.
Maybe it could do. It's difficult, isn't it?
I heard our boys Stephen Larson talking about Sasha Banks on Going in Raw, and made a good point where they said that like almost like Sasha's too good for wrestling in particular. And that's not a dig on wrestling, nor is that a dig on Naomi, but like Sasha Banks has so much star power in media away from wrestling.
There's an aura around her, right?
Yeah.
And and we've seen as well when she's gone on to do other sort of acting things, she's very much got that aura carries over to those kinds of roles and stuff as well. So whether she stays with wrestling, I mean, who knows? Because she could very well go to Hollywood or something.
She could do. One to keep an eye on. We'll keep you updated at cultaholic.com. Who's moving to SmackDown tonight, Andrew?
It's Liv Morgan, the SmackDown Women's Champion, Tom. I think it was inevitable that it was going to happen, but PW Insider has confirmed this now.
One from the no-brainer files, Liv Morgan will now be on the SmackDown internal roster as opposed to the Raw one, which kind of suggests that they are still in spirit keeping a brand split.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah,
at the moment.
they're not rushing to bin off the whole concept, and they'll keep some. And I'm not against that as a thing, you know, to have some guys and some people that you can kind of float between the two. There's no wild card rules. Don't give it a name. Just have it so they can. But certainly the champions are certainly, destined for those brands. They must stay on those brands.
Definitely. But I think as well at the same time, obviously with the champions, it's good to have them go between each brand at the same time, right? Especially for, I guess, numbers and stuff for each show. Obviously now with Roman Reigns not really rocking up every now and then, maybe it's good to have like the SmackDown champion turn up on Raw.
I think on the odd occasion, yeah. But I think the more you do it, it's diminishing returns.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like if you're gonna insist on keeping the Raw and SmackDown women's divisions separate, then try more often than not to keep them on those brands separately.
I get that,
it's a nice thing to have them there. Yeah. But and then you have Survivor Series, which plays into that. But that's not a rubbish thing for ages, which really makes me angry. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to do on the odd occasion, but I certainly wouldn't that to be the regular.
That's fair enough.
More moving and shaking, this time behind the scenes from WWE. This comes on July the 6th. Connor Schell resigned from the board of directors of World Wrestling Entertainment, effective immediately. Mr. Schell resigned from the board due to an increased slate of responsibilities resulting from his new expanded role at the newly formed The North Road Company, a global multimedia content studio. Mr. Schell's decision to resign from the board was not due to any dispute or disagreement with the company, its management, or the board on any matter relating to the company's operations, policies, or practices. All right, get with that. I just chucked in a bit of Resigns news just because this week has all been about people working in offices resigning.
All
Not
resigns
here, in politics.
In politics, it's
no one here has resigned, have they, this week?
I don't know why I'm looking at a fake watch on my wrist. No, Tom. No.
Jack was a bit like that the other day.
He was thinking about it, wasn't he? He was on the fence.
Yeah, he was thinking of joining the North Road Company. Which AEW star could be out for much longer than we thought?
Unfortunately, Adam Cole. So Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio said Adam Cole's going to be out for a while. So details on Cole's injury they've been kept under wraps, but Meltzer believes it could be some time before he competes again. Meltzer also added though too that CM Punk, whilst he doesn't have a time frame about coming back, he will be back in a few months.
Okay, so early return for Punk, not so early return for Adam Cole.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the fact that AEW, in comparison to WWE, seem so sort of secretive about injuries?
I don't know.
I don't know how do we want them just like... I kind of feel like with WWE, if there's an injury, they kind of point it out.
Yeah.
Whereas AEW, they kind of just not mention it. Because we kind of find out in bits and drabs.
Well, that's it. I guess on one hand, obviously, it's like, it's a personal thing, right? You don't necessarily want to announce to the world why you're off for a little while.
Yeah, that's true. I guess if somebody's off here sick, we don't really call reference to it.
I guess to that as well, you not that anybody would forget about Adam Cole, but you kind of don't want people to forget that you're very much within that, especially when Adam Cole's kind of in the sphere up at the top in AEW, right? You don't want to forget that he's a part of that. So it's like, it's one or the other. I don't really know where it sits somewhere in the middle for me. I'm not too sure.
I'll tell you who we haven't forgotten about.
Keith Lee?
I mean, obviously.
I
like the way you said that.
Keith Lee.
And Bayley.
Oh, that works very well.
Thank you. PW Insider reporting that Bayley was at the Performance Center for a few days this week, doing some training ahead of a potential return soon. This has been a long time coming, but now it's coming around. Bayley hasn't been on WWE telly since pre-Money in the Bank 2021.
That's a long time.
Yeah, as she suffered a leg injury during training that's kept her out of the ring ever since. She's teased an in-ring return on multiple occasions.
She has.
She continues to wind us up.
She's the naughty one.
I think that the more the fact that she's teased these constant potential returns, I think her return will just be bamf out of nowhere. Could be tonight. Could be tonight.
No. Oh, maybe actually. I don't know. I'm still feeling SummerSlam. I'm still feeling like SummerSlam could be the big one. If they want to build this huge big show, I think having a return back at SummerSlam.
Big show works for AEW now.
Well, no, I didn't mean that kind of big show. Did I, Tom? I mean, I think I could speak for everyone when we say we're just really excited for her to return, no matter what, wherever it is, whether it is tonight, SummerSlam, wherever. Like it's exciting to know that she's back at the Performance Center and she's on her way back, Tom. She's on her way back.
Liv Morgan on SmackDown tonight walks out with the belt.
No.
I'm now officially SmackDown.
No. Oh, I might have to. I agree with you there.
Who fancies a go?
John Laurinaitis.
Hello, my name.
Hey, he's already got 2 belts, everybody.
I like the fact that that's his theme music as well.
The Halo theme.
Laurinaitis.
Like Green Giant. Ho, ho, ho. Laurinaitis.
Power.
I like that.
It is John Laurinaitis, actually. I've got 2 belts. Why is he Steve Austin?
Why is he?
I've got 2 belts. I want 3.
I took a belt, and then I took another belt.
He gives Liv Morgan a King's Road back suplex. Like the good old days of old Japan.
Oh, yes.
Bring them back again.
Absolutely.
More wrestling. I'm just thinking about his theme music. John Laurinaitis. More wrestling news throughout the day at cultaholic.com.
Love you, bye.
John Laurinaitis.